The Marlins get the dub. Game 1 against the Washington Nationals. It was a close game. It was a one-run victory for the Marlins. And to be honest with you, it felt like a bit of a lucky one. We haven't said that many times this year. Plus, on today's episode, I'm going to talk about Luis Arraez back with a 5-for-5 day yesterday. And I'm going to talk about his MVP case and why he should be considered. All on today's Locked On Marlins.
You are Locked On Marlins, your daily podcast on the Miami Marlins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Greetings from England and welcome to Locked On Marlins. This, of course, is your daily Marlins podcast. I'm your host, Peter Pratt. Hit me up, of course, on Twitter at Miami Marlins_UK. If you listen to the pod, hit subscribe. This is, of course, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Marlins your first listen of the day. And it truly is. For those that are wondering, they're like, Pete, there's another Saturday episode? Another Saturday episode. I'm not even contracted to do Saturdays or Sundays. No weekend episodes. This is a Monday to Friday pod. However, I just can't get enough of it. I can't. This team is too good. I'm having too much fun, and we have to talk about it. We have to pump up these Marlins. So I'm pumping them up on a daily basis. I don't care. So it's happening. There is a YouTube channel, guys. Head on over there, hit subscribe also. Those subscriptions would be much appreciated. Take 2 minutes. Take 2 minutes. It's even less than that. Head on over there, hit subscribe, Locked On Marlins. We need to get to 1,000. Feels good. Feels right. Let's get there if we can. Guys, this episode is sponsored by our good friends over at Birddogs. I've lost the ad. No, I haven't. I found it back. It's sponsored by Birddogs. And go to birddogs.com/lockedonmlb and they'll throw in a free custom Birddogs Yeti-style tumbler with every single order. More about those guys later on. Guys, why is there a podcast today? The Marlins got a dub. They won game 1 last night in Washington. It was a Sandy Alcantara start, as for those the everydayers and for those listening yesterday, you knew I was extremely high on this opportunity for Sandy, this opportunity for the Marlins. I thought this could be a blowout, to be honest with you. And particularly, I was watching the game live. I stayed up. I was like, and particularly after they'd been on the West Coast, like an East Coast game on a Friday at my time, 12:05 a.m., just after midnight. That felt UK friendly. Wanted to stay up. I was enjoying the Fish on First stream. Sean Barrett, the UK GOAT, appearing on that too. So really enjoyed that. So stayed up, watched all of that. It was great. Straight into the game. Marlins put up 2 in the first inning. I thought, that's enough. 2 runs should be enough. Next thing is Lane Thomas drills one from Sandy out of there. Okay, 2 runs aren't going to be enough here. 2-2 through the first inning. Then the Marlins put another 2 on, 4-2. You're thinking, okay, is that enough? It wasn't enough either. So it was a fun game, actually. Fun game. Came down to it at the back end in the 8th inning. And we're going to talk about the relievers a touch later in the show and also about Sandy. But, overall, the Marlins this season have won a ton of close games. A ton of them. There's been a few kind of voodoo magic situations throughout. But what I would say is yesterday's 1-run victory, the way they scored their run, I would say is the most or one of the most lucky wins they've had this year. I don't think they've been lucky a lot of times this year. Once or twice, maybe. And you point to the 1-run win record and you think the Marlins are lucky. They haven't been lucky. They've just been playing well, and it's driven by the leverage pen and the offense never giving up. I must say the way they scored that run, the go-ahead run, was definitely lucky. It definitely was. Cooper Bloop came in pinch hitting, and he has been sensational pinch hitting. Cooper Bloop. There was a pinch hit home run the other day in that comeback win against the White Sox. It's been multiple times that Cooper's delivered, and he delivered again yesterday. Okay, it wasn't conventional, and it wasn't a home run. It wasn't quite as sexy as that. It was a grounder up towards the second base, just past that. CJ Abrams getting across there, misplayed it. Probably if he'd have played it cleanly, he would have got the out. It was 2 outs, by the way. He didn't. Yuli Gurriel starting on second, had got to third by this point, misplay by CJ Abrams. He was waved around. Gurriel, put the gas down, senor. Abraham slung it into Keibert Ruiz. Ruiz had him. Had him banged to rights, dead. But in the commotion, the ball goes into the catcher's mitt. The mitt comes forward trying to make the tag. Ball came loose. Keibert Ruiz got a bit too keen. Didn't secure the ball before he went for the tag. Ball spews out. Marlins go up 1, hand it over to AJ Puck, and he then does his thing. So let's be honest, the Nats had multiple opportunities there to get that out, and they didn't. And definitely it is a lucky one. It was a lucky, who knows how it would have played out, because the Marlins at the back end of games, they seem to come alive. So I don't know how it would have played, but it was a lucky one. Doesn't matter. Let's move on. The Marlins go to 39-31. They're 8 games over 500 at this point. Stunning. They're 5 back of the Bravos for the division. The Bravos are on a 4-game win streak. They're 8-2 in the last 10. The Marlins on a 2-game streak, 7-3. The Phillies equally, they are 2 games over 500 now. They had a real sluggish spell. They're 8-2 in the last 10 as well. Won 4 in a row. And the Mets starting to piece something together. 2 dubs in a row for them. But the Mets 10.5 back of the Bravos. Wasn't it last year, about this point, where the Bravos were 10.5 back of the Mets? And everyone said, that's it, division's cooked. I think I saw a similar tweet yesterday from a Braves account, which should be fun. I mean, imagine if the Bravos blow it. That would be wild. If it doesn't feel like the Bravos are going to blow it, the offense has always just been a juggernaut. They are so well positioned there, the Braves. It's just about their pitching. They've obviously had some struggles this year with the pitching, some health issues. They continue to work through that, but I think, the Bravos offense is just too strong. Have to call out, though, the strength of schedule. They haven't had the strongest schedule, the Bravos. So let's see. Who knows? Who knows how it goes? But overall, the Marlins are well positioned here at this point. Another big win, and they go again this evening on Saturday, of course. Braxton Garrett going. And again, what looks to be a really winnable and juicy game. I'm going to talk about Sandy Alcantara. Let's talk about Sandy and his start yesterday. And after the ad, we'll talk about Luis Arraez, because I want to talk about not only his day yesterday, but equally the wider context here. I really want to put forward why we should be thinking about Luis Arraez in the MVP conversation. I put it out there on Twitter this morning. Put it out there. Most people coming back saying, Pete, this is nonsense. I don't care. I'm going to put forward my case because this is my pod. And no one's there can say, Pete, you're talking rubbish. It's a solo pod, so no one can. Happy days. But Sandy Alcantara, post-game, I shared it as well. Sandy, the main thing is with him, accountability. He does not shirk from anything, and he will answer the questions. And it sounds to me, generally with Sandy, like it's kind of a touch in his head at this point. The frustration levels have been rising. Jess Blaylock asking the questions directly to Sandy about the frustration levels, and he's acknowledging it. Skip Schumacher also acknowledging it. Like giving up a 5 spot against the Nats, it's frustrating for him. And it isn't command. This wasn't a command issue. This was a pitch location issue yesterday. Too many pitches up and over the middle of the plate. Lane Thomas absolutely drilled one oppo with the boppo early on, first inning, first hitter. And that was where the damage came for Sandy. 10 hits he gave up, I think, in total yesterday. Unlike Sandy. If you remember yesterday, I was waxing lyrical about he's back. It's ground ball Sandy. He's back. Didn't see that yesterday. It was not good from Sandy. It was a struggle for him. At this point, there's not really anything to do other than for Sandy just to try and mentally work out how to come in loose, how to come in relaxed. He's done it before. It's the beautiful thing about Sandy Alcantara. There's no need to panic. Doesn't have to panic. He's done it before. He's been there. He's seen it. He's done it. He knows what it takes. And it's just a bit of a rough stretch. It is what it is. Like, everyone has these stretches where they just have their struggles. It's about working through it, but trying not to be burnt mentally. It's a mental drain and trying to get out of that. Trying to stay out of the mental drain. Just go out there loose, relaxed. Lean on what you do best. I do wonder with Sandy and Stallings, it was an immense hookup last year. I mean, Sandy's Cy Young campaign was immense. Stallings was there for every single inning. Every single pitch, Jacob Stallings was there. I do wonder if it may be time just to shuffle the deck a touch. Just Nick Fortes has seemingly emerged as the starting catcher. Really, He's catching 3 out of every 5 days. Stallings 2. I do wonder if they flip the script a touch and just see, maybe Nick Fortes, Sandy Alcantara. Maybe there's a hook up there. Maybe it's just about calling games a touch differently. Who knows? Is it mental? Is it mechanical? I feel like early in the year it was something mechanical. Now I think it's trended more to the mental side. And so with that, how can Sandy bounce back? How can he recover? Because he will. He will. And I said this earlier on Twitter. Sandy Alcantara has carried this team he carried them in 2022, no doubt. The team right now are carrying Sandy. He hasn't been good this year in the main. They are carrying him. But Sandy is so good that at some point in 2023, Sandy will repay the favor. He will carry this team to multiple wins in a stretch of games where the Marlins desperately need him. Right now, the offense is kind of delivering, the pen's delivering, and they're managing to, keep it rolling. They're propping Sandy up. At some point, Sandy will prop this team up where the offense goes cold and we end up winning 1-0 and Sandy goes 8. And you just turn and go, Sandy, that was vintage, baby. You know it. You know we will. I'm going to talk about Luis Arraez after the ad. And also want to talk about the bullpen, which, the description has been nails all year, but it's getting beyond nails. It's getting to some elite nails. Before we do that, though, guys, it's time to let you know about our good friends over, of course, at Birddogs. And we need some graphics, too. Let's get those sexy graphics pumped up. Should have had them queued, but I haven't. But nevertheless, here we go. Guys, it is the summer months. It's all about getting those shorts and those sculpted shorts, baby. Get the fit right. Get the fit right. Birddogs stretch khaki shorts are designed to fit slimmer through the thigh and leg, giving you that truly sculpted look, baby. They fit way better than regular shorts that are made of that stiff, restricting cotton. Rubbish. Birddogs fix this issue by inventing cloud knit fabric that looks just like khaki but stretches so you get a way slimmer fit without having to sacrifice movement. Birddogs also use this anti-stink sweat wicking fabric. It's tough to say, but it doesn't half work. Keeps you cool and dry all day long. Sounds immense? Here's what you got to do. You got to get over to birddogs.com/LockedOnMLB. And there, when you make your purchase, you'll get a free Yeti-style tumbler with your order. That's birddogs.com/LockedOnMLB for that free Yeti-style tumbler. You won't want to take your Bird Dogs off. We promise you that. Pardon me. Still got this cough lingering around. Still have. Plowing through, though, guys. This pod is a bonus pod. Marlins are winning. 6-5 yesterday. 1-run victory. 1-run dub. Cooper Blue pinch hit. But the main storyline, guys, Luis Arraez back in the lineup. Skip Schumacher after the game speaking about Luis Arraez. The soundbite there it was phenomenal. The way he's saying that Arraez comes to the ballpark and says, I'm going to get at least 4 hits today. And he says it day after day. And he's begging to be in there, even on a skid for him, a 3-game hitless streak. On a skid, Arraez is in there begging to be playing because he knows he doesn't doubt himself. He's an elite hitter. An elite hitter. 5 for 5 day yesterday, Luis Arraez. 3 RBIs, 2 runs as well. He did it all, including a home run in the second inning. And it was an absolute blast from Luis Arraez. He turned on one. I love the way. It's so funny. The pitch location really determines what he does with the ball. This is the beautiful thing about Arraez. He's not trying to do a single thing. He's not a one-trick pony where he's just looking to take every pitch into a certain spot. No. He's recognizing the location and he'll just deal with it accordingly. And yesterday, the location was that in off the plate where he can really turn on it. And he does look to turn on those ones. And he turned on one with aplomb yesterday. Sent it long. It would be a home run in all 30 parks. No doubter, baby. No doubter from Arraez. His second bomb of the year. I have to be honest. I was getting a bit hyped. It was only the second inning. He'd already had a single. And he already had a home run. I was like, boy, oh boy, we're on cycle alert again. Couldn't get the cycle done. Ended up with a 5 for 5 day. Luis Arraez now takes his average up to 390. There was a spell we were getting worried. Is it going to be dropping below 350? 320? No, Arraez back on the horse. He's now hitting 390 as well. His OPS at this point, by the way, it's 925. His OPS plus 156, baby. Arraez has been absolutely elite this year. Let me ask you this question. The Marlins right now, 39 and 31, 8 games over 500. If Luis Arraez was not playing for the 2023 Marlins, where would their record be at this point? Answer me that. I'm telling you right now, these Marlins would potentially, likely almost, be under 500 if Luis Arraez wasn't playing for the Marlins this year. That's how important he's been. He's been so good. So good. He is elite. He's the best out there at what he does. I want to put forward some conversations about the MVP. I was out there this morning trotting that out to say MVP update. A lot of people have got Ronald Acuna locked in, seemingly, for the NL MVP. And I understand why. He is the premier 5-tool guy in the game. I get it. But I don't think it's a complete lock at this point. There's a couple of other guys brewing anyway. But I wanted to put forward the case for Luis Arraez. Listen, hitting 390 or even 400. Let's say Arraez hits 400 on the year. The Marlins make the postseason. For me, that's almost enough to seal the MVP because the Marlins shouldn't be making the postseason. They weren't expected to. They're expected to win like 79 games. So if the Marlins go on and Arraez hits 400-ish, then he absolutely should be in the conversation. I just want to talk about Ronald Acuna, though, briefly as well, because I think it's important context, right? Here's what you get with Arraez. You get, well, he's only hitting singles. He doesn't steal any bases. And he doesn't hit for power. Fair enough. But he hits 390 and no one else does that by a stretch, by 60 points, give or take. Acuna right now, he's hitting 327. Arraez, 390. 63 points better than Acuna right now, batting average. And I know it isn't all about batting average, but fundamentally batting average is about, making hits. Bat on ball, baby. And I know everyone's getting pumped about Acuna because he's stealing a ton of bags. He's stolen 30 bags already, which is insane in previous years' context. However, I'm not having it. I am not having the fact that you're going to give an MVP, hand this MVP over to Ronald Acuna because he hits for a good average with some power and he's stealing, let's say he steals 60 bags. And you go, wow, it's the best season ever. Guys, no. Stolen bases. Like, the bases now are the sizes, they're the size of a life raft. They're that big. The rules have been changed and manipulated to encourage stolen bases. 60 stolen bags, to be honest with you, means nothing. It means nothing. And it's certainly not something you judge who is the MVP. Because let me tell you, what John Birdie did last year was more impressive. And there was not one MVP vote for John Birdie. Not one. Not one. I get it. He didn't hit as many home runs as Acuna and didn't hit 327. Get it. But our perspectives of Ronald Acuna are driven by the narrative of, well, he hits for power and he steals a ton of bags. And also, because we play fantasy baseball and we realize how valuable Ronald Acuna is in that format, then we all just wax lyrical. We don't appreciate Luis Arraez. I didn't appreciate Luis Arraez before this year. I've been lucky enough to watch Arraez every day for the past 2.5 months. And let me tell you, Arraez is the best hitter in the game by a mile. By a mile. Acuna does things that Arraez doesn't, and Arraez does things Acuna doesn't. But the point I wanted to make is, with the rule changes and these bases the size of life rafts, like, I'm not having it that stolen bases is the determining factor for MVP. No, not a chance. Not a chance. You are not selling that to me. If Acuna hits 330 and he hits 40 bombs, 35 bombs, and, fair enough. It's in the conversation. I don't really care about the stolen bases. I don't think that's a factor for me. I mean, Luis Arraez isn't going to have, what's he going to have? 10 stolen bases, maybe max? 10 home runs max? I get it. I get it why people are on the Acuna hype train, but I think it's closer than people are giving it credit for right now. Arraez is a unicorn. He is. Shohei Ohtani, a unicorn. And Arraez, also a unicorn. Some people would say Ronald Acuna is a unicorn as well. I don't think that's completely true. I think Arraez is such an outlier, as is Ohtani. And again, the point I'm making around Arraez is this links back to how the Marlins season goes. If the Marlins season ends up going the way it's trending right now, and the Marlins make the postseason, or even win the division, imagine that, and Arraez is hitting what he's hit, that's your MVP right there. I don't care what Acuna has done. Doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. It is irrelevant. Some people would disagree with this, rightly so, but I don't care. So let's do our final out of the day. It's our good friends over at FanDuel. Then I want to talk about the bullpen, and then we're going to get out of here because it is a Saturday, and I don't want to go too long on a Saturday. But guys, if you are new to FanDuel, then you've got to make your way over there because right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $2,500. That's $2,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. There's no better place to bet all of the action. It doesn't matter which sport, they have you covered. It's America's #1 sportsbook. You can visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and get a no-sweat first bet up to $2,500. It's FanDuel.com/lockedon. All right. So, the bullpen again yesterday. Andrew Nardi. Boy, oh boy, Nardi. I thought it was going to be Brazaban early on in the year that became the ultimate fireman. It hasn't. It's just been Nardi. And Skip Schumacher again after the game spoke about it. Just Nardi. I think the analogy that Skip used, which I really enjoyed actually, was some people see the stage and just want to get on there, and some people see the stage and want to just turn away and run away from the stage. Some people run to the stage, some people run away from it. I think that was the analogy he used. And he said Andrew Nardi absolutely runs full steam ahead onto the stage. He wants to be in the mix. He wants that leverage position. He wants those spots. And boy, oh boy, he is delivering. Absolutely wild from Andrew Nardi. I've already had to hold my hands up once this year, early in the year, saying, because I was like, Andrew Nardi? I'm not even convinced he should be on this roster. I was wrong. Aaron Layden was right. Tanner Scott, I was on that hype train this year. Felt like there was a real good chance he could have a good year. And this is the good thing, guys. All of what I say is on record. So you can go back and look. So can I. Sometimes that's not good. But in this case, for Tanner Scott, I was always on that. But I must say, Tanner Scott equally has been immense. He's almost up, I think, to like 16 innings in a row without giving up a run. So Tanner Scott has been elite. AJ Puk as well. It was interesting. Alex Carver on the pregame stream was talking about AJ Puk, saying he's got a couple of concerns since he's come back. Hasn't quite looked like the AJ Puk of earlier in the year. And I kind of understood where he's coming from there. I think it's kind of muddled in the fact that it was that Seattle game where you ended up with the bases juiced after, a couple of errors sprinkled in there, which definitely didn't help. But for me, AJ Puk still looks like the real deal. And in the ninth, save opportunities, he absolutely is the real deal as well. And this is what's propelling the Marlins. Again, looking at yesterday's games, Dodgers, Giants going, and the Dodgers had a 6-inning start from the starting pitcher, handed over to the pen. Pen blew it. All I hear from the Dodgers Twitter is they have no bullpen. No bullpen. The Marlins were pretty much the same last year. No pen. This year is completely different. This is why the Marlins are so different. They've been carried by their pen primarily this year, in big spots anyway. And Andrew Nardi, Tanner Scott, and AJ Puk are a big part of that. Dylan Floro also, I have to call him out too. Those four for certain. Guys, it's going to wrap us up for today. Braxton Garrett going in a UK-friendly start, so I'm looking forward to that one. But they get the one-run victory. It was a lucky one, the way they scored that run anyway. Sandy continues to struggle. But for me, I know he's going to kick into gear and he's going to carry this team at some point later in the season. Confident of that. Luis Arraez, for me, is absolutely in the MVP conversation. And I put forward my case on that. The bullpen remains nails, and that is what is carrying this team in parts. The Marlins are looking to go 9 games over 500 this evening. Looking forward to seeing how that goes. I'll see you very, very soon.